You're listening to a production of the National Media Archive. To learn more or volunteer, go to nationalmediaarchive.com.
What if I told you that the richest people aren't always the ones with the most money? They're the ones with the most stamps in their passport. Hi, I'm Darius, joined by my travel partner Carmen, and together we've explored 14 countries, learning that travel isn't just about sightseeing, it's about growing richer in ways money can't buy. Now, you might be thinking, sure, travel sounds nice, but is it really worth the investment? Let me share a quick story. Each country we visited has shown us new ways to see wealth, happiness, and freedom. We all have that thing we spend on, maybe it's shoes, clothes, or the latest tech. For us, it's travel. We believe every dollar spent on a plane ticket brings a return in wisdom, perspective, and joy. That's the real ROI, return on immersion. Think of travel as compound interest for your soul. The more you invest, the more your worldview grows. And isn't that a kind of wealth most people overlook? So today, I'm inviting you to reconsider what makes you rich. Is it your bank balance or the stories and insights you collect around the world? Let's talk preparation. In just 5 days, my family, myself, Carmen, and our 3-year-old daughter are off to Nigeria for our best friend's wedding. But here's the twist. Packing isn't just about cramming clothes into a suitcase. It's about intentionality. Now, why does packing matter? Because every item you bring is a decision about how you want to experience a new culture. For example, do you pack light and stay flexible, or do you overpack and risk being bogged down? I start gathering clothes a week in advance, no, just to avoid last-minute chaos, but to reflect on what's essential. In finance, this is like managing your portfolio. Are you diversified, or are you carrying unnecessary baggage? You might wonder, Darius, isn't packing just a chore? But let me tell you, it's a mindset exercise deciding what truly adds value to your journey. So next time you travel, ask yourself, are you packing for comfort, for status, or for the experience? That's a microcosm of how we spend in life too. Our first moments in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, were a sensory overload thunderstorms, bustling streets, and the hum of life everywhere. But here's what struck us. The surface differences in culture, money, and especially food mask a deeper reality. Now, you might be picturing a third world country, but let's challenge that label for a second. What really defines richness, or poverty dollar amounts, or community spirit? We were greeted not by scarcity, but by abundance of hospitality, laughter, and generosity. It's what economists call social capital, and in Port Harcourt, it's off the charts. Let me paint a picture. Wedding celebrations, neighbors sharing food, and a sense of unity that's almost tangible. Suddenly, the definition of poor starts to feel inadequate. So, have we been measuring wealth the wrong way? Is it about assets or about the connections and contentment people share? It hit me after returning home. Poverty is as much a mindset as it is a material condition. Sure, from an American lens, Nigeria might seem poor, but the reality is much more nuanced. You may be asking, isn't poverty about lacking resources? But let's dig deeper. In psychology, there's a concept called relative deprivation, feeling poor only when comparing yourself to others. In Port Harcourt, the so-called poor were often the happiest. They had strong relationships, purpose, and a sense of sufficiency. Contrast that with consumer-driven cultures where satisfaction is fleeting, replaced by the constant urge to acquire more. Let me tell you a story. One host, with little by Western standards, insisted we take extra food for the road. That's abundance thinking sharing without fearing scarcity. So, what if true poverty is really the inability to see what you already have? And what if real wealth is contentment, not accumulation? Something profound happens when you observe generosity in action. In Nigeria, people gave freely, often from what appeared to be limited resources. It's a powerful illustration of the abundance mindset. Now, I bet you're thinking, if I had little, wouldn't I want to hold on to it? But here's the twist. Behavioral economists talk about loss aversion, our tendency to fear losing what we have. Yet, in Port Harcourt, sharing is cultural currency. I watch neighbors bring food, help with wedding prep, and even offer rides to complete strangers. That's not just kindness, it's a strategy for social resilience. Contrast that with the hoarding we sometimes see in wealthier societies. Does having more make us more fearful of losing it? So ask yourself, Are you living in scarcity or abundance? Sometimes the richest societies are those where giving is the default mode. Let's pivot to money. In the US, debt is almost a way of life credit cards, car notes, mortgages. But in Nigeria, we notice a striking difference. Most people own their homes and cars outright. That's what economists call asset-based wealth. Now, imagine a society where your car isn't repossessed, your home isn't leveraged, and your paycheck isn't already spoken for. That's financial freedom at a grassroots level. We had conversations with locals who explained, loans, mortgages, not for us. We save up, we buy, we own. It's a debt-averse culture. You might wonder, but how do they manage without credit? The answer is discipline delaying gratification and building real equity. That's a lesson most of us could use in our own financial planning. So, could living debt-free be the foundation for a new kind of wealth? One that isn't measured in credit scores but in peace of mind? Here's a hot topic: taxes. In Nigeria, once you own something, you're typically done no annual property taxes, no recurring car fees. Sounds ideal, right? But there's a flip side. You're probably thinking, no taxes? Sign me up. But let's consider what taxes buy: paved roads, streetlights, public infrastructure. In Port Harcourt, infrastructure was often lacking potholes, unreliable power, limited public services. This is where the concept of public goods comes in: things that benefit everyone but require collective investment. Economists debate the right level, but after our visit, I gained a new appreciation for where our tax dollars go. It doesn't mean one system is perfect, but it does raise questions. Would you trade low taxes for fewer services, or do you value the security of a maintained environment? So next time you grumble about taxes, remember, sometimes what you're really paying for is peace of mind and infrastructure reliability. Let's talk about cash flow specifically, the magic of global arbitrage. This is when you earn money in a strong currency, like the US dollar, and spend it in a country where your money stretches further, like Nigeria. You might ask, how does this work in practice? Here's a concrete example. Nigerian, American families return home and, using US earnings, can afford homes, staff, and amenities that would be out of reach stateside. That's purchasing power parity in action. We watched friends employ drivers, security, and support local economies, creating a ripple effect of financial empowerment. Now, not everyone can move abroad, but the principle is universal. Creating passive income streams and leveraging currency differences can unlock new levels of freedom. So, are you making your money work for you, or are you stuck in a one-currency mindset? The world is bigger than we think. Let's get practical for a moment. Exchanging currency in Nigeria is a lesson in global finance. On arrival, we learned that 100 bills big face, not the old design Sarah King. 20s and 50s? Not so much. You might wonder, why does bill size matter? It's about counterfeiting risks larger denominations are trusted more. Then there's the dual exchange rate, one for outsiders, another for locals with connections. That's what economists call market segmentation. For us, the difference was massive. One could be 750 naira at the official rate or 128 naira through trusted locals. That's a 30% swing just by knowing the right people. Let me tell you, we ended up with a stack of cash that lasted the whole trip, buying water, food, and experiences for a fraction of what we'd pay in the US. So, before you travel, do your homework on currency, exchange rates, and local customs. It's the difference between feeling like a tourist and living like a local. Now, let's dive into the wedding, a cultural immersion like no other. Nigerian weddings aren't just about two people. They're about uniting families, villages, and even entire communities. Sociologists call this collective efficacy, the ability of groups to achieve shared goals. You might be picturing a simple ceremony, but picture this: separate celebrations for men and women, elaborate rituals, and the entire community pitching in to support the couple. If conflict arises in the marriage, the community steps in not to interfere, but to support and restore harmony. That's social insurance in action, far beyond what any policy can offer. At the wedding, cows are purchased, food is abundant, and joy is contagious. It's a display of communal wealth, a reminder that sometimes your net worth is measured in relationships, not rupees or dollars. So ask yourself, how does your community show up for you? In Nigeria, the answer is clear wealth is a team sport. Let's talk lifestyle. In Nigeria, Many families, especially those with U.S. tie, enjoy comforts that might surprise you. Drivers, security personnel, household staff. It's not just luxury, it's a different approach to well-being. You're probably thinking, isn't that only for the super rich? But here's the trick. Thanks to global arbitrage, what's expensive in the U.S. becomes accessible abroad. That's geo-arbitrage, using cost of living differences to your advantage. During our stay, we saw how these services support family life, free up time, and create jobs locally. Even our daughter made friends with a security guard AK-47 in hand, but a heart of gold. Contrast that with the U.S., where outsourcing daily tasks is costly and rare. It's a reminder, with the right strategy, you can design a lifestyle that maximizes comfort and impact. So, what's stopping you from building the life you want? Sometimes the answer is as simple as changing your environment. Here's my big takeaway. The secret to financial freedom might just be living somewhere your money stretches further. This isn't just for retirees, it's for digital nomads, remote workers, and anyone willing to think globally. You might say, but Darius, isn't moving abroad extreme? Sure, it's a big step, but in today's digital world, your office can be anywhere. That's the essence of location independence. We've seen Nigerian Americans live the American dream in Nigeria, homes paid off, passive income flowing, and lifestyles tailored for joy, not just survival. If you're curious, start researching. What countries offer great healthcare, low cost of living, and vibrant communities? The possibilities might surprise you. So, what does financial freedom mean for you? Maybe it's time to redefine it not as a number, but as the ability to own your lifestyle wherever in the world you choose. Let's wrap up with a core idea. Travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer, not just with souvenirs, but with perspective, empathy, and inspiration. You might be thinking, isn't it just a break from routine? But travel is a crash course in adaptability and open-mindedness, what psychologists call cognitive flexibility. Every destination has challenged our assumptions about happiness, wealth, and what it means to live well. It's taught us to appreciate diversity, to seek abundance, and to question the status quo. If you're on the fence about your next trip, remember, every journey is an investment in yourself, a chance to grow, connect, and see the world with new eyes. So, I challenge you, where will your next adventure take you? And how will it make you richer in every sense of the word?